Welcome back. Let's get strapped in and go down that rabbit hole.
Breaking news, check this out. The WHO has just declared an end to the Mpox emergency and now calls for sustained efforts for long-term management of the disease. Dr. Tedros, I don't think he's a doctor, but anyway, Mr. Tedros has come out and has given a press conference, and this is just breaking across the internet, about the fact that Mpox is now no longer considered a global health emergency. So I want you to look at this video, watch this video, and I want you to realize the power that you actually hold, because they were pushing this. They declared that emergency. All the media outlets were starting to broadcast this and do reports on it. They were hoping that people was going to start getting flashbacks of 2020 and start going into fear and panic and all the rest of it. But people weren't having any of it. And there was a huge backlash online against this. They will monitor the internet constantly. The intelligence services will monitor the internet. The WHO will monitor the internet, and they will be gauging public opinion. The fact that there was no fear, and the fact that people pushed back and just said, we are not having this any longer, they have now backtracked. They've backtracked on this. Do you see the power that you have when you push back? Don't underestimate this, folks. The latest round of BS seems to have melted and faded away. Sayonara, Mpox. Take care, stay blessed, eyes and ears open. As always, I thought I'd bring the good news to you. Take care, bye-bye.
Well, as quickly as it came, it left. That is interesting. But as far as it being the case that it's the people that put a stop to this issue escalating any further and there being further restrictions and limits put on us again, reminiscent of a time past within the last 4 years, I'm not sure. Maybe, just maybe, they were using this event as a way to gauge the public response. Maybe it's not scary enough. Maybe they need to, you know, come up with something a bit more terrifying. Just a thought. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
The big question is, are we alone? Could we be the only intelligent life in this vast universe? How big is the Milky Way galaxy? The Milky Way galaxy has hundreds of billions of stars. Nearly every star in the Milky Way galaxy is circled by at least one planet. Our Sun orbits the Milky Way galaxy once every 200 million years. In a few billion years, both galaxies, the Milky Way and Andromeda, will collide, forming one massive galaxy. This is a supercluster with hundreds of millions of galaxies, the Milky Way galaxy being one of them. The cosmic web consists of hundreds of billions of galaxies. This is the cosmic microwave radiation afterglow from the Big Bang. This is outside of our universe, the multiverse.
I really don't appreciate how matter-of-fact some of these videos are without actually stipulating that this is all based on theory. The Big Bang Theory. It's the multiverse theory. We don't have definitive evidence to say one way or another. Despite what I think is the most plausible explanation, it's still only grounded in theory, not in truth or fact. And I think that's where a lot of people slip up, is that all of this is only based on theory. There's no definitive evidence. If anyone had definitive evidence, we would all know it. There would be no debate. And I know some people think that they have definitive evidence. If they do, it may well be being suppressed by someone with ulterior motives, which has something to gain from that information being suppressed. But either way, we've got to be real careful when we're expressing ideas and hypotheses on different things. You know, we can't be matter-of-fact about it when it is only grounded in theory, not in truth. But I don't know, let me know what you think. As far as there being life out there, we know that there is life on a microscopic level. We found ancient bacteria on Mars, supposedly. But as far as intelligent life, I feel like we'd be fairly arrogant to believe that the entire universe is barren other than ourselves. I think that's an arrogant idea. However, as I've said in previous videos, I don't think that intelligent life interferes with us. I don't think they've come here, or if they have, they did it long ago and they have since departed and just left us to it. I can't see us being that interesting that they would want to keep on observing us, when then that means that there's probably other life other than them. Surely they would want to go and engage with something far more interesting, which I'm sure there would be out there, right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are we alone?
Valley of the Giants is a book that dares to try to prove that dinosaurs and humans once lived together at the same time. In the Paluxy River in Glen Rose, Texas during the 1970s, these photos were taken, some of them quite shocking, because the humans, that's a 7-foot stride, had feet that were 18 to 22 inches in length and with a stride of 6 to 7 feet. Friends, this giant and human book shows conclusive proof that giant humans and dinosaurs once roamed the earth together. That little orange shopping cart down at the bottom of the description, you can grab yourself a copy of this today.
Not the first time that I've heard this idea that humans and dinosaurs roam the planet at the same time, but there are some which believe that dinosaurs didn't even exist in the first place and that they're all just a fabrication of someone's imagination to cover up the existence of dragons. And that's quite an interesting idea in itself. I have yet to delve deeper into that theory, but I am very much interested in doing so. It does seem really hard to believe that dragons were ever a thing. They seem to pop up in every culture at some point in their old stories about a dragon either being slain by some hero figure or some kind of cataclysmic event which took place due to a dragon. Let me know what you think. Do you think that we were around with the dinosaurs? Do you think the dinosaurs are a cover-up for the existence of dragons? I mean, let me know your thoughts. I want to hear them.
It is the next apocalypse. Cash is privacy, cash is freedom, and think what the global totalitarian one world government wants to take from you. If you have no freedom and no privacy, you can be completely controlled. And it really pisses me off when people say, oh, but it's so convenient because I can just tap my phone. It's also convenient to pay with a tenner and be given a fiver in change. And there's trillions of pounds and pence, dollars and cents being exchanged in cash. The bank make nothing on it. But every time I tap that, the bank make 5%. So imagine if they took the trillions in cash transactions, made them all digital, all of a sudden the banks are making trillions.
It's not even just about the banks profiting. If there was to be a social credit system rolled out where based on your deeds and your thoughts and your carbon footprint, they could decide whether you have access to various amenities and core infrastructure, even insurance and, you know, all kinds of stuff, right? And if you weren't playing ball, they can just cut off access to your finances and then you really are up the creek without a paddle, right? So it allows fear to once again be a motivator to listen to the rules, no matter what they are. Again, it's just for entertainment purposes, floating that idea, you know? But let me know your thoughts. Do you think the idea to push cash out of society as we know it and to replace it with some kind of digital currency is foreshadowing for some kind of social credit system which is going to be implemented soon?
They've been hiding this from us. Have you ever wondered why many ancient civilizations are shaped extremely similar to the motherboard of a computer? And why so many old cities and places mysteriously burned down in fires? This is because the world before us was full of advanced technologies far more powerful than anything we have today. The ancient civilizations were created in a specific manner to farm energy from the atmosphere to power their society. These ancient civilizations had extremely esoteric information about the Earth. This information was passed down and evolved into the Tartarian Empire. They had advanced architecture that was able to harness the atmospheric energy for each building. This made energy practically free for everyone. When the elites across the world discovered how they could control countries by limiting their energy supply, they waged war on Tartarian technology and destroyed and burned it all. They began selling oil to countries so they could completely control them. They did everything in their power to erase true history and keep us in the dark. Our history is so much different than we have been taught, and we are so much more powerful than they allow us to know.
Now, I have a very interesting tidbit of information here based on a personal experience. I have a relative who is nearing 100 years old, and I asked them, do they know anything or have they ever heard anything about Tartaria? And to my bewilderment, they in fact were taught about it in school, and it was supposedly a kingdom, which is where Mongolia is now situated, and that Genghis Khan was something to do with the Tartary. My ambition is over the next few weeks, if possible, to try and glean a little bit more insight as to what they were taught and what they know about it, and I'll share that information in my videos. I have yet to do my own research into what I was told by them. It's just interesting to know that they were taught about it in school. Do you have any old relatives which have been taught the same thing? Were they taught about Tartaria? Let me know in the comments below. That made me laugh. I'm pretty sure that these images that people find, they're publicly submitted photos with the geodata or the metadata providing the geographical location of that photo. And when it's uploaded to Google and it's registered in their Google Images Index, it will place it in the location. So when people are looking on Google Maps for different places, it will show them a hotspot where there have been photos taken, and they get to see things like that. I know that was a 360 image, but that could have been easily created, you know. There's nothing stopping someone from creating a render of an image like that and then falsely inputting the metadata to make it look like it was taken in that location and then submitting it to Google Images or on a website with that metadata, and it will then catalog and index in that way. I'm pretty sure you can check in at locations and submit your own photos. I'd be curious to see who the author is of that image, whether it's someone public or if it was actually someone who works for Google. I'm fairly certain it's going to be someone who's just trolling everyone, you know. Real or fake? I'm calling it out. It's fake.
When we say that God knows what I am going to do tomorrow, we do not mean that God writes on a piece of paper what I'm going to do tomorrow, locks it in a bank vault, and then I've got to do what's on the piece of paper. That's determinism, that's fatalism. The Bible doesn't teach that.
What Cliff is attempting to do here is solve the free will omniscience paradox. This paradox isn't as ironclad as many people think, but the basic suggestion is that if God knows everything that you're going to do before you do it, and God cannot be wrong about what he knows, then everything you do is predetermined. But this is not necessarily true, and this is the one thing that I'm going to agree with Cliff on before I debunk his position. Because God doesn't know what you're going to do, in philosophy at least, because he's predetermined it. He knows what you're going to do because he lives at all points in time, and he already knows the outcome of your decision. So to resolve the paradox, you just say that God knows what you're going to do, not because it was predetermined, but because he already knows what your decision is going to be because he knows the future. So what is the problem with this biblically? Well, according to the Bible, God did predetermine all of these decisions. Let's read what the Bible has to say about it. In Psalm 139:16, we read from David something really interesting. Your eyes beheld my unformed substance. In your book were written all the days that were formed for me, when none of them yet existed. So according to the psalmist, if you think he's prophetic, which most Christians do, and if you think that he doesn't say things that are lies, then we must conclude that all of his days were formed for him before he even existed. And this would go along with Proverbs 16:4. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble, or some translations say the day of destruction. And then we get some even more interesting ones. Isaiah 46. I am God and there is none like me, declaring the outcome from the beginning and from ancient times, things not yet done, saying that my purpose will stand and I will fulfill my intention. And we'll read one more. Jeremiah 10:23. I know, O Lord, that the way of humans is not in their control, that mortals as they walk cannot direct their steps, which applies to another interesting proverb that many people know, where it says a man plans his future, but the Lord actually directs his steps. Now, if this wasn't clear enough, we can just read some other predestination passages like Romans chapter 8 and Romans chapter 9, where God literally says that each person that is designed to be a vessel of wrath was designed by God to be a vessel of wrath. And so if that's not God predetermining your outcome, then I don't know what is. In Romans chapter 9:19 through 24, we read something interesting. One of you will say to me, then why does God still blame us? For who is able to resist his will? But who are you, O human being, to talk back to God? Shall what is formed say to the one who formed it, why did you make me like this? Does the potter have no right to make out of the same lump of clay some pottery for special use and some for common use? What if God, although choosing to show his wrath and make known his power, bore with much great patience the objects of his wrath prepared for destruction? And what if he did this to make the riches of his glory known to the objects of his mercy, whom he prepared in advance for glory? So according to the Apostle Paul, there is no free will. God has already predetermined and formed all the days of your life. And this pairs well with Ephesians chapter 1 and Revelation chapter 13, where it says that the elect in God were elected before the foundation of the world. In fact, Revelation 13 I've got written down here about the people who were written in the book. It says, everyone whose name was not written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb was slaughtered. So your name was written down in this book from the foundation of the world before you had lived even one day. Just as David said in Psalm 139, that all my days had been prepared for me before one yet existed.
If he's perfect and knows everything that we're going to do, why wouldn't he create creatures with free will that would always do the right thing?
God cannot do anything. God cannot make 2 + 2 = 5. God cannot create a round square. And God cannot create a free human being and then force them to do something.
This answer really ignores a major fundamental principle of the Bible, which is that when we're in heaven, or when there's a renewed heaven and a renewed earth, there will be endless peace, and we will still have free will. This is in perfect keeping with Revelation 21. In verse 4 it says, he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Is he suggesting that free will and decision-making will no longer be a thing? It doesn't seem to be that way, but there is definitely some kind of a condition in which the people are no longer going to be sinning and hurting each other. And of course, this is quite in agreement with Isaiah 11 and Micah 4. Let's look at those. In Isaiah 11, when the Messiah comes, the branch of David, it says, the wolf will lie down with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, and the calf and the lion and the yearling together. And the little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear, and their young will lie down together. And the lion will eat straw like an ox. And the infant will play near the cobra's den, and the young child will put its hand on the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with knowledge of the Lord as the water covers the sea. So it seems to be that it is the presence and knowledge of the Lord that is enabling this peace, which of course coincides well with Micah 4. When the era of peace commences, it says that the Messiah will judge between many peoples. He will settle disputes for strong nations far and wide, and they will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. And nation will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore. There's definitely world peace in the biblical narrative, and nowhere does it say that you are going to be removed of your free will. But that being said, the Bible's not clear that you have free will to begin with. It's not really even necessary. What seems to be necessary is the idea that in the end, God is absolutely going to institute an era of world peace with or without free will. And if God is capable and willing of suspending your free will in heaven so that there could be peace, then it really begs the question as to what's he waiting for? If that's his final goal, and all he needs to do is either suspend free will or put his presence here among us, then why are we not having that right now? What's the holdup?
I know that was quite a long one, but it's fascinating because I think the idea of free will starts so many very interesting debates. And I want to have one here in our comment section. Let me know, do you believe in free will? Put religion and Christianity aside. Just in general, do we have free will? Say this is all a simulation. Are we just programs running a script? Whether we feel like we've made those decisions or not, have they been implanted there to make us feel like that we're making those decisions? Reintroduce religion. The Bible clearly seems to be contradicting itself, which occurs a lot. I believe that individual who we just saw is a theologian, and he knows the Christian Bible like the back of his hand. And he raises a very good point. Now, I myself am not a Christian. I believe that there is some kind of higher entity which has created all of this, but I'm not going to get into what I believe, but I'm not a Christian. So I find it very interesting when someone articulates why I'm not a Christian in a very educated way, and they're able to pull the evidence from the Bible, which helps support my outlook on things. Like, I see so many contradictions and things which just don't add up in the Bible. And when something contradicts itself like that, it makes it incredibly difficult to believe in it, right? But he makes a very good point at the end there, saying about how if his final goal is global world peace, whether or not there's free will involved in it, what is he waiting for? And I hate hate the argument, well, God works in mysterious ways. If you have some kind of answer to these questions, which isn't just the same boilerplate response that everyone else gives, give me an educated, academic response. Convince me otherwise. I'm all ears. I'm open to the conversation. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to open up this comment section to be a forum for discussion. Obviously, keep it respectful. Respect people's beliefs. Let's talk it out. Let's see if we can answer some of these questions ourselves.
Came down here to the Lowry Apartments, ran into Big Mod.
For sure, Big Mod 29. Y'all know what it is?
Yeah, we down here for the same reasons. Right here. Dallas and 12th. The Lowry Apartments. We're down here to chase these Venezuelans off.
Oh, we don't know. We ain't from here.
Look, we got another one right here. What's up, bro? Look, we're down here to take our country back.
Ain't no question. We ready out here.
You guys want to mob down or what? I got a megaphone in the car.
Yeah. What's your name, bro? I'm Big Mod, bro.
Yeah, we down here. America's back down to take back.
Dallas, Texas. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Venezuelan gangs. We're here to chase you off. This is our communities. You want to see what gang violence is? We invented gang violence.
To all Venezuelans in Chicago, this is the warning. If you ain't on no, stay neutral. Somebody please translate. Stay neutral. If you know somebody that's in your building, on board, don't let them run in that building, and don't let nobody see them run in that building. Because once word get out that that's the building that they in, they gonna chop that down. Whatever building, the abandoned building y'all occupying and all that, yeah, you better get your food and just stay in the house, because they come out doing some bull. Y'all gonna regret that. You're gonna really regret that. So, I don't speak Spanish, so somebody need to translate. I hope they got TikTok that translate, I guess. They can kind of make me seem like I'm speaking Spanish. But anyway, take this like a grain of salt if you like. But this ain't Colorado. This ain't Utah. This ain't none of them places. This is just like where you from. The only difference is y'all use a lot of handgun, old revolvers, and machetes. And we got switches. We got switches. If you're not familiar with what a switch is, we will show you. We don't really be with all the telling and shit. But we will definitely show you what a switch is. So, again, somebody translate. Yeah. Make this known. This ain't like Colorado. I'm just saying.
National Guard, it'd be private entities there too.
The 357th Military Police Company of Concord, California, trained for detention operations at Fort Hunter Liggett. Made up of correction and detention specialists within the Military Police Corps, the unit prepares to assume the responsibility of securing and protecting displaced civilians in a theater of operations. This includes transferring refugees from hostile environments to Army detention centers to protect them from attack while also controlling civil unrest.
So look at this map right here. This is a taste of what the military's camps are like, detention centers inside of their drill. Now, I put a map beside a map, and I want us to look closely here. This is exactly what we're seeing. You see this? These areas you need to be cautious of when the civil war unrest moment goes down. They said they would also be removing immigrants so that they could potentially help them from civil war unrest, because it might be a scenario where people are going after them because they are coming after us.
This includes transferring refugees from hostile environments to Army detention centers to protect them from attack while also controlling civil unrest.
Take this into perspective here. Let's, after looking at that map, then look at the timing that the United Nations are going to leave New York, because I didn't go deep into that. I just told you they were leaving. But they happen to pack up and leave right on time. They leave. Look, a fully integrated program technical division will be in place August 2024, ahead of the physical move plan between March, September 2025. So here's what I see happening. Excuse me. All of the high assets will be moved from the UN office right away. And maybe they leave the other ones there for the longest period, and they could be stuck in the middle of some event, because that's usually how they do it. They cast them to the wolves. Now, it was also another 2025 scenario called by this Air Force general who said basically we'll be at war with China by 2025. Technically, that could be a case, but the internal war that we would face would be from the invaders that's already in, who's probably going to be serving in the military, who's giving orders to come after the average person because of some list, just like I showed you. Now, like we said, a navigation to all this stuff on a map is that the Rocky Mountains area is the area that has the least population.
Some very compelling information there. When you look at that news piece and then what's been unfolding out there, seems very much like some kind of coordinated aggravation in certain communities. All I will say is that violence is never the solution. It's never the answer. We've seen it here in the UK recently. Things started to heat up, just not right. We're supposed to be the most intellectual species on this planet, and yet we still resort to physical violence rather than intellectual discussion to resolve matters. We're all human, we're all the same. We can figure this out. We just need an open dialogue, we need empathy and understanding, and we can resolve whatever there is going on here. We don't need the media telling us how to do it. We don't need governments telling us how to do it. We just need to calmly open up the dialogue and be serene and peaceful about it. That just about does it for today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe for future content. I post a video every single day at 8 PM UK time. We also have a Discord server where the discussion can continue once the video ends, and we'd love it if you joined. But until next time, stay well, stay safe, and stay curious.